Wondering what's next in your business or personal life? Welcome to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings, a podcast dedicated to helping you with all of life's challenges, discoveries, and opportunities. Whether you're seeking a new career, retirement, or simply wanting to make an impact in your community or the world. Join Jen Du Plessis and her guests as they explore how to start, what to do when you're in the thick of a change or growth, and how to leave a mark in this world after breaking through your next achievement. You are moments away from the aha you've been seeking.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I am delighted today to have our guest with me, or with us, Cami Baker. She is the author of Mingle to Millions, and her story is just really compelling. And so we're going to dig in deep today into Cami's background and about all the ceilings that she's broken through in her life. And I'm sure we won't get to all of them, but we're going to get to some very poignant ones that will help you in your decision making as you're going through this process of being significant, perhaps going into or success going into the significant part of your life, making an impact on people and yourself and your family. So let me take this moment to introduce you. She is an HGTV House Hunter veteran. She was in the top 5% of realtors and mentored by the best in the real estate industry. Cami has leveraged her creative and innovative ways of seeing opportunity since she was a child, and she's going to tell us about that. I'm not going to make that a spoiler right now, Cami. That's like going to a commercial. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Fast forward 40 years, and she's led, and her lead generating mindset has gotten her into in success with Home Magazine, hosting a TV show, being a radio personality, and speaking to hundreds of times to audiences from 10 to 30,000. Her primary focus is assisting real estate professionals to meet and mingle with their ideal clients, recruit top talent, and build brand awareness and loyalty through social responsibility. And she's going to talk a little bit about that as well. And then she says there are 3 specific skills that 95% of real estate professionals, and in fact any salespeople, don't understand or leverage. And we probably won't be able to share it in this show, but we will. You can check it out on my other podcast, Mortgage Lending Mastery. She'll share those skills. So if you're interested in that, you can certainly check that. And I believe that her podcast, that release was July 15th or 8th or something. So just look around that time and we'll get there. So welcome, Cami. So happy to have you on this show.
Well, we hit it off right off the bat. So we're spending some time together. It's awesome.
We are. It'll be really interesting for us to actually see each other at some point and be standing next to each other, and figuring out who's taller, who's shorter. It'll be interesting to see. Because, it's just all relative on video and, over audio. So let's get started with a little bit about your past. I want to really go back to, I'm going to ask you a question, and then this will kind of guide us where we'll go, which is this, so thinking about a time in your life, in your early life when that was interesting or was challenging for you, what do you think that time was, or share with us that time that you feel has really shaped who you are today?
You know what? I'm going to go way back to my childhood, and I'm going to say that, depending on your beliefs about where things start, I have heard that children, even before they're born, even when they're in their mother's womb, they can feel what's going on with their mom, and they know the energy, etc. And the fact is, I was born, I was adopted. And so I knew before I was even born that I was being given away.
Wow. Yeah.
And I have spent most of my life proving myself, because I've felt like if I could prove to you how good I am, you'd keep me around. Mm. And that has played out many, many times, including when my mother and my father, who adopted me, he died when I was 6 years old. And that was just another experience of kind of being abandoned or given away, or feeling like, wow, if I had proved myself even more, he wouldn't have left. He would stay.
Right.
So I think that's kind of not of a fun place, but a really serious place to start is when you have had something happen in your life that makes you feel like you have to prove yourself all the time. It can be one of the best tools because I've proved myself enough to get on HGTV and In-House Hunters and all these different things, but it's also kept me very separate and away from people most of my life.
Yeah. And I definitely can empathize with that, knowing my story. And, I just saw a quote that said, "Stop proving, start living." And I just saw it a couple of weeks ago and thought, well, where was that? Where was that way back when I was proving to everybody,
You know what?
And,
I don't think we would have seen it. I don't think we would have heard it.
We may have been in the right time. So how do you think that shaped you now in your, in what you're doing? And of course, we'll get to a little bit more about what you're doing, but how do you think that shaped your life?
Well, it has shaped it in so many ways. As a matter of fact, 3 months ago, I went back and redid landmark education. And when I was going through that process, talking about different things in my life, moving forward with a stepfather and different things that I've just always been on this path of, I don't need you. I can do it myself and prove to you how smart I am. And it's played out in so many ways, from getting on stages to different relationships personally that I've had, to shifting careers and becoming a speaker. It's been great that I've been able to prove myself and get on those stages and get those clients, but it's kept me very distant in that now that I'm almost 52, I feel like I'm tired. I'm tired of proving myself, and I'm tired of showing people that I don't need them. I want to need people, and I want to feel like they need me as much as I need them. I feel like I've grown and matured enough that I want to put that independent driving woman, I want to put that down, and I want to soften up and be more playful, joyous, and loving.
Yeah, I love that. And, and I know that that's part of your transition that you're experiencing right now. And, what I love about bringing guests on the show is that some guests are just pondering this transition. Others are in the midst of it, and others have come out on the other side. And so for you, you're sort of in this transition right now. So share with everyone, about the success part of your business or your life. And then we'll start talking about how that transition is now transitioning into some of the impactful things that you're doing.
I always feel like I want to take a step back and talk about, how one of the transitions that I made early on at the very beginning of my career was transitioning from being an alcoholic to getting sober. And stepping into that sobriety was such a huge transformation that it does seem like so many times so much other stuff doesn't even compare, but going from being an alcoholic and suicidal to going into real estate and getting a mentor right off the bat that was so supportive and so successful and really taught me from day one how to prospect, how to lead generate, and how to get a lot of business. And then stepping from that into another career. One of the things I've noticed, Jen, is in the 3 different careers that I've had that have been successful, I started out working with someone else or for someone else or in partnership with someone else and them teaching me and then doing it myself. And so I think that's something really important for our listeners to hear. If there's something that you want to do, mortgage, real estate, network marketing, being a mother, like anything that you want to really step into and own, find someone who's done it and been successful at it and partner with them, kind of like how people partner with you to launch their business and success.
Yeah. And I think that's really important too. I think you bring up a good point. In my 7 strategies to break through your mindset for your business, one of the strategies is to really take a close look at, who you are surrounding yourself with, who is your circle of trust and your mentors, because your mentors change. The need for them changes. And it's kind of like, climbing a ladder, and you can't be at the top of the ladder with the same people holding onto the bottom, right? And, so maybe you're a mentor for someone is as a successful realtor, for your example, right? You were a mentor later for someone else, but that mentor that you had originally is probably not the mentor that you're moving forward with, because now you have another plan, and I think it's really important for you to be constantly assessing who your mentors are as you're making that transition. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's great. So you decided, you've had a successful 18-year career in real estate, and you do something really neat, that's impactful. And we'll talk about that charity component here in a moment. But, you started to make this transition. So what really, triggered this transition that said, I've been doing real estate. I, was an alcoholic. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I'm not going to prove to anybody anymore. And now this is where the name of this podcast is like, what's my life going to be like after breaking through all these ceilings? I've broken through those. Now what? What's going to happen? So tell us about your thought patterns as you went through the transition of moving into a coach and speaker where you're at now.
Well, when I was deciding to put the career down of being a real estate agent and step into coaching and mentoring and speaking, there was actually, again, a different mentor that was in my life, actually Emerald Peaceful Green Forest. Mm-hmm. And when she was in my life, I was in that place where, do I want to hang on to something that's been so financially lucrative? It's taken very good care of me and my daughter. Do I want to keep doing that? But my heart's not in it. Right. Or do I want to let go of that security and step into what I feel like I'm being called forth to do? And once again, I hired a mentor to help me make that transition, because they can see things that we just can't see, like the forest. The forest is so thick. My tree is right here. Right. I need somebody to help me see around it. And so it was hiring her that helped me to make that energy shift in myself so that I could step into becoming a mentor. And over the years, having done HGTV and gotten on all the stages and all that, I feel like now my calling really is to help so many others to step up and shine. To your point, you get mentoring and then you step into being a mentor. And sometimes the things that you think you're being mentored for at the time, you find out years later, wait a minute, that was great for real estate. And I learned about scripting, and I learned about body language and tonality, and I learned about all these things. And it was great for that, but wow, it's even more useful now. It's even more impactful now.
Yeah, and I think we do carry, what we've learned from one to another. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. Okay, so you made the transition, and you said, okay, that's it. I'm done. I'm cutting off this side, and I'm now going to go in this direction. What were some of the fears that you had as you approached that?
I guess some of the same fears that everybody has. What if people hire me and I can't produce? Mm-hmm. What if they liked me as Remax or Century 21 or that network marketing company, and their contracts and their material? What if what I'm creating people won't resonate with? What if they don't like it? Mm-hmm. The imposter syndrome, as they call it.
Right.
What if I can't pay my bills? Mm-hmm. What if I do it and I fail and people make fun of me? Mm-hmm. One of the biggest things that I've been able to, that's helped me and that I help others to do, don't be so worried about what other people think.
Yeah.
Really, step into knowing that there's a lot of people that you're here to serve. And if you're worried about listening to what other people think, now don't get me wrong, I get advice, I get mentorship from people like yourself and others who've been places that I haven't been yet. But really take a look at where are you getting your information? Like, who are you getting that mentorship or that advice from? So when I say I try to not think about what people think, it depends on who it is. But ultimately, I'm here to serve a lot of people, and I just really want to own that and help other people do it too.
Yeah. And I think, just for clarification here, because I know you enough to know that there's a part of this that I just want to, shine a light on, which is that, as we're going through these transitions, because I too have done a very similar transition, as, our listeners know. And, is that the thought of, yes, we're thinking about, what if I fail? Can I make pay my bills? Can I really, not be an imposter? Am I really good at this, as much as I think I am? I think it's important to surround ourselves with others that are going through the same thing, hence the reason for this podcast, to help people realize that you're not doing this alone. A lot of people are going through these transitions, have just come back, come out on the other side and have lessons they can teach us, can hold our hand as we're both going through something at the same time, right? And can give us the nudge that we need to actually take that leap of faith. And I know that you, as you were thinking through those, you were also surrounding yourself with people, realizing that you weren't doing this alone, and you're not the only person who's trying to do it, correct?
Well, as you know, one of the things that I would say to your listeners is change your playgrounds and your playmates. Like,
Yep.
Who are you surrounding yourself with? If you're wanting to step into being a real estate agent that has 100 transactions a year, don't talk to the ones that are doing 5 deals a year. Like,
Right.
find the ones who are doing that which you're wanting to do,
Yeah.
and change who you're listening to. That's why people should be listening to your podcast, because, garbage in, garbage out, good in, good out.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt about it. Okay. So you made the transition. How long ago did you make this transition?
Well, I transitioned out of real estate probably 6-7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then my book came out about 3 years ago. And then I had a little bit of a hiccup in there where I got into a personal relationship with someone who was a narcissist and absolutely needed 100% of my attention. I put my book down, I put my business down, and was helping him with his business for about a year. But then I came back into it 2 years ago. And, I'm really proud of that. When people say, well, sure, you can do it. You've got the book, you've got the history, you've got the longevity. Well, we all have our mountains and our valleys and different directions that we've gone
Right.
in. So for me to totally reposition, re-step into being a speaker and an author and a coach and all these things about 2 years ago, just goes to show, if I can, my very first year, 103,000, my first year with no inventory, no employees, no
Right.
nothing, just starting out. And so I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. To be able to have a 6-figure, income in the first, full year. That's fantastic. So now you've come out on the other side, right? You're on the other side and you're saying, okay, so now, life is just life. I'm trying to make a living. I'm trying to do things, you've had some lessons, and I want to hear, some lessons learned, because I know you probably went down a couple paths and then had to rewind and, thought you could trust somebody and couldn't. That's part of, doing the transition and becoming, an independent entrepreneur. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we will transition into, what are you doing to make a significant impact on people's lives?
I was just interviewed a couple of weeks ago on a podcast called Vulnerable to Valuable,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and talking about that whole transition with that personal relationship. And so
Yeah.
nothing is a failure. Nothing is a bad relationship or a bad situation, as long as you learn from it. And what I really learned from that was to really appreciate my freedom, really appreciate my ability to go out and meet and mingle with anyone and everyone that I want to meet and mingle with. Like, we all have the blessed gift in the United States of America of really reinventing ourselves, rebranding, recreating ourselves anywhere. And there's never been an easier time than now with the internet. And people can become famous literally overnight with the right YouTube video. So, you can really rebrand yourself.
Yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. Yeah. And so it's important to learn, lessons as you're going through them. So now, part of your decision to do this transition was make an impact. And I'm always someone who says, I think that we learn and then we earn, and then we get to the point in our lives where we want to return. Right. And, so we spend so much time earning that we, and as Bill Cosby used to say it too, on his show himself, called himself, Bill Cosby himself, he said, his parents, these are the same people that were, so mean to him, and they're wonderful to his grandkids. And he said, these people are just now trying to get to heaven, right? And I think what happens is that we do that too. We go, we've worked so hard and we've been very successful, but now it's just not enough. There's got to be more to this. There's got to be more to life. And, helping people is definitely, the part of it, right? That and you, in your case, you're helping other real estate agents to be successful in a compressed period of time, and learn from your failures and your lessons. So what is it that you're trying to make an impact on globally? And I don't mean around the world. I'm just saying your global impact on not just making money and having a successful business, but what are some other pieces that you're trying to do to instill in the clients that you work with?
Well, not only do I want to make an impact, but just when there's a lot of experience and you see thousands and thousands of people making the same mistakes over and over, and you know there's a better way. I always think about the movie The Poseidon Adventure, when the ship's upside down and the guy says, come this way, and they're all marching down the hall, and they're going to their death, and you want to say, no, come with me.
Right.
So, my total collaboration and my gift to the world, my contribution by 2025, I want to be the catalyst that helps people to shift from sponsorship to collaboration. And through all of that, helping people to really understand how to partner for-profit and nonprofit so that social responsibility is part of their business development. And when I say make the shift from sponsorship to collaboration, like if there's a real estate agent that's listening to this and you think to yourself, well, gosh, I go to all these networking events and I sponsor events and I sit on boards for nonprofits and I run my own networking event. I'm doing all the things that they've taught me to do, but you're just not getting where you want to go. Hey, how about having a little bit of a shift in thinking? How about if you really think about who are your ideal clients, who are your ideal collaboration partners, where are they, and how can you bridge the humanity gap and get out and build those collaborations so that those businesses are making a lot of money with you and you're getting in front of the ideal clients. So I really feel like my contribution to the world is helping people to see, not just people, but real estate people, step into, wow, there's a certain set of people that I'm here to serve. And instead of just networking and paying money for, postcards and advertising or doing open houses, how can I actually collaborate with the other businesses in my area so that we are all raised to a higher level?
Yeah, I love that. And, so I know that there's a big charity component in there for you, in that collaboration is to not just, because if someone's listening and have not heard your whole story, which they're about ready to, so hang in there, it's not just about collaboration, I've always felt it like this, is that a lot of us are in one, I'm in a boat and I've got one oar and I'm spinning around in a circle, and someone else is in another boat with an oar and they're spinning around in a circle. And once in a while we hit, right? We're all networking and whatnot, and we hit and a fish flops back and forth and we say, oh my gosh, that was great. Let's do business together again. And we go, okay, that sounds good. And we go back in our little oars and we're spinning around circles. Rather than that, instead, let's get into the boat together. Let's both use the oar and let's go to a common goal. And your suggestion here is that, yes, we do that, but the charitable component that is involved in this, I think, is really what makes it most powerful. And so I'd like to know where this came in. Is there a charitable situation that you've had in your, and I'm not pulling strings, so if you don't, or straws or any of that, if you don't have one, that's fine. But what made you bring that charitable component in? Where in your heart were you when you said, let's not only get in the boat together, but gosh, what if we could help other people?
I'm glad that you asked it that way, because when I first stepped into this, it really was from a place of strategy, business strategy. It wasn't really from a place of heart-centeredness, but I learned that over the way. So when I was a real estate agent, I got my dream car, 64 and a half Mustang convertible. When I bought that car, I knew that everybody from 6 years old to 60 would turn their head and look at that car. So I knew that I was going to put CamiBaker.com. At the time I was with Remax, and I put that all over the car because I knew people would see it. And the very first year that I had the car, I ran a car show. And the first car show that I did, 50 people showed up, 50 antique cars. They all had $20. They're ready to register for the car show. Totally ignorant, really green, had never run a car show, didn't know what I was doing. And the woman that was helping me said, why aren't we taking their money? And I said, because we're not doing this to make a couple $100. We're here to promote the business. But it really made me think, Jen, wow, 50 people times $20, do the math. Somebody could use that money. Yeah. And when I asked around, I found a place called the Live and Let Live Farm that rescued horses. And they were local to my area. Most people knew who they were. So in that collaboration, in the beginning, I thought, well, I'll give them the money. That's nice. But over 7 years, it really developed into me going to the farm and learning what they do and appreciating who they were and all the horses that they saved. So I really learned about the charitable part of that our money was going to something beautiful. And I also noticed that when I was out talking to people, if I was at a networking event, somebody said, hey, what do you do? 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 Oh, I'm a real estate agent. Sure would love your referral. So what? There's 8 others in the room.
Right.
I learned to say, I'm so glad you asked, because what I'm doing is an antique car show. Mm-hmm. And we're looking for hot cars and people who love cars. We're giving all the money to this horse farm that rescues horses. So we're looking for people who love animals too and want to help these horses. And I realized that some people maybe didn't care about Cami, didn't care about Remax, but they sure did love the horses, or they loved that we were doing something like that. And it really bridged what I call the humanity gap. It gave us something in common to talk about that wasn't, I'm a real estate agent, here's my card. It was, hey, I'm a human being, you're a human being, we're doing this fun thing, do you want to play?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm so glad that we got to that point in this interview, because I want people to understand how powerful that is. And we certainly know nowadays it is, especially with coronavirus. And even before that, it was becoming more and more popular, even on Facebook, donate. And again, that donation is a sponsorship. This is what makes collaboration so different. And your definition of it is that we're not just giving money to a charity. We are actively engaging and participating with that charity to highlight and spotlight them. And in the course of that, we naturally get business because we're the person who's bringing it to the table.
Well, and I actually, sometimes I'll jokingly say I'm tricking my clients into leaving their icky salesperson at home,
right,
and showing up authentically. Because if it's veterans or animals or the environment, like whatever turns them on, when that real estate person or that mortgage person, that broker is out in the marketplace meeting people, when they aren't worried about their 30-second elevator pitch and how they're going to explain what they do, they don't have that sales hat on.
Right.
When I teach them how to talk about, the veterans, and they're doing this event for the veterans, then they can show up from their heart, show up with true authenticity of who they are. And as we all know, when people know that you care, then they care what you know.
Yeah.
So it helps them to get out of their own way, for one. And then back to your point about the sponsorship versus collaboration.
Yeah.
Typical sponsorship is, I give you $500, and 3 months from now, you show up at the car show or the golf tournament or the gala, and my logo's up on the banner. Gee, that was sponsorship. What I'm talking about is, how can we all of the businesses in the area, how can we collaborate for the 3 months leading up to the car show or the gala, so that by the time we get to the gala, we all have already done 10 times the business we would have done, because we've learned to collaborate and support each other, not from sponsorship, but collaboration. And there's a lot of different ways that I help people to do that, not the least of which are Facebook Lives and different ways to get out and promote each other before the event.
Yeah. And what ends up happening is that the event is not the destination, where in the case of sponsorship, the event is the destination. It's the journey that gets you to that destination that's so powerful, that's where you have opportunities to, grow, you have opportunities to meet more people and do more business. And so, as I'm thinking through this, as you're talking, for the listeners that are here, listening to this and saying, if I want to make this transition and leave my, JOB, and now I want to become the owner of that JOB, right? I want to now move to being an owner, or I'm transitioning to something that it's just been sitting and bubbling inside of me as a passion that I want to take out there. This is a great way to take it out there. It's, again, not the destination, but the journey. And it's one of those situations where you look back and you go, oh my goodness, look what just happened. What we did created what I was looking for without having my eye on the target, to an extent that, in your case, which we will not talk about in this particular podcast, about your case about being a skunk when you're networking. Right. So I think this is really, really great. So if someone's going through a transition and they're saying, gosh, Cami, you figured it out. You already did it. You got it figured out, and you know how to make it happen on the other side of this really quickly, and you have tools, etc. How would they get in touch with you?
Cami Baker, CamiBaker.com. I'm easy to find. Mingle2millions.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, Smoke Signal, Carrier Pigeon, text.
And phone number.
And phone number, 603 785-2598.
Yeah, and I love that you always give out your phone number, because that means that you're just very open to helping people, and you're, accepting. It's kind of like the helping hand, of Allstate or something like that, where someone's hands are coming in. And I love that. You also have a free gift that you'd like to give everybody. So tell us a little bit about that gift.
So the free gift is camibaker.com/free. Mm-hmm. And when you go there, you'll get a free copy of my book, and also the 7 keys of collaboration to unlock your dream success. And I want to make one quick comment about the phone number.
Yeah.
Many years ago, I was in a room with my mentors. There's 500 people in the room, and he gave out his cell phone number. He even wrote it on a big whiteboard. And I remember being horrified. Oh my God, he's giving his cell phone number out. Everybody's going to be calling him.
Yeah.
And for years, I saw him do that another 100 times. But that very night, I said, Patrick, what are you doing? All these people are going to call you. And he just looked at me and smiled just so innocently to me. He said, Cami, nobody calls us.
Nobody calls.
They don't call. They're so afraid that we're too successful or busy, or that they're not worthy of our time, or that they don't want to waste our time. He said, nobody ever calls us. So I want to challenge out. If you are one of those people who really does want to make money while you make a difference, you really do want to build your real estate or mortgage business, we are available. All you have to do is call.
Yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, Cami, I want to say thank you again for joining us and sharing your story. And I know you have so much more to share with everybody. But I really appreciate you taking time, and hopefully this has become an aha moment for someone to say, there is a better way for me to go out there and do this. And maybe that was I've been calling it the bridge over troubled waters lately. Maybe that is the bridge. It's like, oh, maybe I could do collaboration, and that might be the bridge over my troubled water to get me to that other side that's so green and really what I want to passionately be working on. So hopefully we've made an impact in someone's life, and they will be strong enough and courageous enough to call you and tell you. Right? Or call me and tell me that, hey, that was a great interview. So I just want to say thank you again for joining us. We sure appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. And for your listeners, when you start thinking about the word sponsorship, ooh, I'm going to sponsor this event, or they're asking me to sponsor, I want you to think in your mind, wait a minute, I want to collaborate. I'm going to call Jen or Cami to learn how to do that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for listening in. And again, if this is your first time, welcome to our community. We hope that you enjoyed this episode and encourage you to give us a great rating, write a review, and don't forget to subscribe. And most importantly, don't forget to pay this forward and share it with your other friends, because you never know who's going through that same transition from success to significance. We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to Success to Significance with Jen Du Plessis, the #1 podcast for people wanting to give more value and make an impact. Loved this episode? Be sure to subscribe right now at www.jenduplessis.com/S2S for more stories, strategies, and thoughts to help you gain significance and success. And if you like what we're doing, don't forget to give us a rating and review so we can continue to bring you the best content possible. Join us next week for another breakthrough episode. Thank you for listening.